I just ran and slid into that thing. So where you guys are sitting is going to creep me out the whole time because you're sitting on a ladder and your dog's running around. But I thought I'd do chapter 3 here in this area in a red chair, which will eventually change to a different red chair because this is probably one of my last videos in this house. So, let's read chapter 3 of Low Red Moon together. Gather round, it's story time. Yay! And yes, I'm wearing the same shirt as yesterday because it smelled good and I really didn't wear it that long. Alright, chapter 3. That night I dreamed my parents and I were having dinner. Mom had made chicken pie, the crust curling over the edge of the bowl she baked it in, and Dad picked all the carrots out of his and grinned at her when she said, "Well, I liked them," and ate them off his plate, her hand bumping his arm. "Ugh," I said, embarrassed by their easy affection, but also sort of proud of it too. My parents loved each other in a way I never saw shared by any other parents. "I made chocolate pie," Mom said, and I got up and took it out of the fridge. There was a crack down the center, and I showed it to Mom. "It happens," she said. "Pies are tricky things." "Like life," Dad said. Mom smiled in agreement and said, "Avery, will you get a knife to cut it? You have to have the first piece." I went over to the wooden block where all the knives rested, their handles sticking out, and then everything went dark. "Dad, the power's gone out again," I said, and bent down to get a flashlight. The power was always going out, and we were forever at the mercy of the one line that ran into the forest to be turned back on when it went down. I couldn't find a flashlight. Not one, when I knew we had at least 3. I couldn't even find the cabinet under the sink. My hand cut through the air and I reached for the counter to steady myself. My hand slid through the air again, through nothing. "Mom," I said, and then "Dad," but they didn't reply. They didn't reply and I couldn't see anything. I couldn't even hear them. And then I wasn't in the kitchen anymore. I was outside. I couldn't see the shapes of the trees. And I could hear them too, rustling together like a whisper. They were there all around me. I could even smell them, their rich pine and dirt scent, sharp and bracing. Why was I outside? How had that happened? When? Why? I turned to go back to the house, but it wasn't there. Nothing was there. Nothing but darkness. "Dad! Mom!" I said, but it didn't come out as a cry. It came out as a whisper, and I couldn't make my voice louder. I couldn't make it heard. And then I felt something slide across my feet. I tried to move away, but then realized I was near the house. I knew the trees that were close by it. I recognized the little bumps that made up the rise and subtle fall of the forest. I walked through every single day. I could even see my shadow again lit by the house, and now there was something sticking on my hand. I looked and saw a smear of chocolate on one of my fingers. I hope Mom wasn't mad at me for tasting the pie before I'd cut it, and I wanted to go back inside to see her and Dad. I had to. I started to move, but the tree I was near held me, its branches catching me, and something was soaking through my sneakers, strangely warm against my feet. I looked down and I saw I was standing in a river of red. It was deep, dark, brown red, blood red, and it was running fast and hard and covered my shoes, rising up over my ankles. I knew what was happening then. I knew I had to find my parents. I had tried to tried to look for them, but it was dark again, so dark I couldn't see a thing. I screamed for them again, but nothing came out. Like the darkness had taken me away. Like I was outside, but not in the outside where they were. Not like I was anywhere they were. And I felt rough wood, tree bark under my cheek. I was lying down somehow. I was shivering and the red was everywhere now, all over me. And I was going to see silver gleaming cold and precise, silver moving and slicing down, down, down. I woke up screaming. We were eating dinner, I told Renee when she came running into me, turning on the light and chasing away the darkness. I went to get a knife for the pie and then it was outside and Mom and Dad weren't there. They weren't with me. And then there was blood and Avery, Renee said. Avery. Avery. She grabbed my hands in hers, squeezed hard. I stopped talking and waited for her to tell me she'd called Ron. That she knew he needed to hear this, but she kept holding my hands tight, her eyes huge and sad as she looked at me. I remembered something, I said, my voice rising a little. We were having pie. No, we were going to have it. And I went to get a knife, and then I wasn't inside anymore, and they... Avery, Renee said again, and I stood up. Keeping her grip on my hands, I rose up too, my whole body shaking from what I'd seen, what I'd remembered, and then I saw myself in the dressing mirror. Something had happened to my hair. It was the same length it always was, but below my shoulders there was some reddish brown that my mother's hair had been, except for one piece. There was a section of hair right by my face, sliding across my cheek, curling near my mouth, that was pure red. Not a happy red, a cherry red of holidays. Not pretty red like the glow of a sunrise or sunset. It was dark red, brown red, blood red. I said, and I stared at myself in the mirror. Saw Renee was staring at me too. You had a nightmare, she said. A bad dream, that's all. But her voice was shaking. We both knew I hadn't had a dream at all. We both knew something had happened. But what was it? I remember eating dinner with my parents. I could still smell the chicken pot pie, still see Dad and Mom smiling at each other. I could still see the crack in the chocolate pie. But what happened after that? Why did I end up outside? Why? I remembered the silver again, the graceful, sudden, and swift arc, the noiseless, brutal blur. And I knew it was what had taken my parents away. I knew it was death. I remembered seeing something silver, something very strange, and I think that's what killed Mom and Dad. I don't know why it came. I don't know why it wanted to hurt them. Why did it come? Why? I was shaking so hard I could hardly stand. And Renee held me up, turned me away from the mirror. Okay, shh. She said. She led me downstairs and made me drink a glass of milk thick with strawberry syrup, something she used to make me when I was little, back before I stopped seeing her. It didn't taste good. It tasted fake. Not like real strawberries at all. But I was thirsty, and the more I drank, the better I felt. We should call Ron, I whispered when I was done. No, Renee said again. You had a dream. It's not real. I remembered something, I said. We were having dinner, and I saw silver, I saw blood. I know that's when they died. The police, honey, they already know what you and your parents were eating dinner. She said, looking at the kitchen table. If you remember more, we'll call Ron right away, I promise. You think the silver and everything I've said was a dream? You think I paused, remembered the red warmth of my shoes, how it rose. What it was. I knew that I knew it was real even if no one else did. And now I had to know what, and it was a what, had killed my parents. I had to be sure before I said anything else. As soon as I remembered everything, things would still never be the same again. I didn't go back to sleep that night. Renee didn't either. We sat in the kitchen together, silent, and watched the sun rise through the sliding glass door that looked out into the woods. Guys, none of that. Bree! I have like 3 paragraphs. Sit. No, you can wait. I'll reread the last sentence once they're done their burst of energy. Bree, come here. Bubs, come here. Come here. Ha, that did it. Alright. I didn't go back to sleep that night. Renee didn't either. We sat in the kitchen together, silent, and watched the sun rise through the sliding glass door that looked out into the woods. My hair said when the light was out. When I could see that what I had glimpsed in the mirror before was real. Why did it change color like this? What's happening to me? I waited for Renee to say something, but she didn't. Not for a long time. When she finally did speak, all she said was, "I don't know." She sounded nervous, and I watched her look into the forest. I saw her eyes close and something that looked like a memory, like regret. I shuddered, my teeth clacked together, and she got up and came over to me. "You will be safe, I swear," she said. It sounded like a plea. It sounded like she was scared as I was. And that is chapter 3 with minimal interruptions. Because when you do a video and you have dogs, I don't want to lock them in a room because they bark the whole time. No! Stealing the dog clippers now. No! Anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying the story. Tell me your theories of what you think happened to her parents. Apparently it's a what? And silver. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out more later. Alright.